Hello, Nigeria. There's no better place to be, so don't you ever change that dial. What's up, everybody? It's Kabam Zasukwa, and you're watching Hello, Nigeria.
It's time to lighten things out here in the studio. We have a very interesting young man, good-looking, eye candy, and probably single, who knows? So single ladies, stick around. This might be a treat for you. Now, this is a man who has honed his skills in acting, not just on stage, but also on screen. He trained in the UK and he also trained in the United States of America. We have with us Adeolu Adefarasin, who is a big deal and one of the latest hot stoves in the Nollywood scene.
Really
it's
hot
good to have you here, Adeolu.
Hi, how are you doing?
So we've seen you from the likes of The Wedding Party to Skinny Girl in Transit.
Yeah.
And now you also have some projects coming up, which we will talk about shortly. Well, how are you?
I'm very good. How are you guys?
Very well, thank you. Great to have you on the show.
You didn't wear white, but it's okay, we pardon you.
Yeah.
So I think we should start off with your acting. Did you start acting whilst you were in Nigeria or when you moved?
I kind of always was going towards acting. When I went to school, I forced it on myself. I remember when I first moved to school in England, I had to choose an extra subjects, and they were like drama or home ec, and I was like, well, I don't want to cook. So, and then from there, I kind of fell in love with acting and pushed it everywhere. I did my degree in acting. I made sure there was no other option.
Are you serious? What uni did you go to?
I did it at the Arts University in Bournemouth.
Okay.
So I did my degree in acting so that, people can't tell me, no, go and be a lawyer. I was like, unfortunately.
And then you moved on to the New York Film Academy as well.
And then I went to New York. I stayed in England, worked for a couple of years, theatre, and then I moved to America, did New York Film Academy, stayed there for a couple of years, and then I came home.
Welcome back home.
Welcome home. We hardly find actors who are properly trained like you with regards to study. Well, here it's theatre arts, so some of them do study, but you've gone beyond. You've done a post degree as well in acting, so you know your onions when it comes to acting. Yeah. Now, you've had the opportunity to work on stage abroad. I don't know if you worked on stage in Nigeria, because I'd love for you to compare and contrast with regards to what is different, what are the learnings from working abroad that you can introduce to the film industry in Nigeria.
So in terms of, so I've had my experience working on stage abroad. I just did something on stage here, but it was a tour going around schools in Nigeria, in Lagos, to raise awareness about underage drinking for kids. And I thought that was a really good experience, very different experience. I learned so many things because, been sheltered. So I go in private schools, and when you now go to all these public schools, I was like, wow. It taught me a lot about what there is for us to do with the education system in Nigeria, in terms of quality of the schools, quality of the ability for kids to learn in some of the conditions that they're in. And then in terms of theatre, I think really it's about taking it seriously mentally. Not so much, you don't have to necessarily go to school for it, but it's about taking the time to understand what acting is and what it takes. I think we've got like a bit of a mentality here that is changing now, but it's been so much about, acting is just that thing that you can just do it if you tell me now. So I remember when I first wanted to be an actor, my grandma was like, hey, leave the acting to the ladies, go and do something serious. So I think we've had that throwaway mentality about it, but that's changed a lot over the last 5, 6, 7 years where the industry is taken a lot more seriously. So hopefully that gets to more people training and more people looking to take it seriously in terms of what they think it demands of them.
All right, now, following up from what you just said, people oftentimes, the mentality is changing, but there's still people who would send their kids to school to go and become a doctor or a lawyer. I mean, your mom is a lawyer, and your grandmother told you to leave acting for the ladies. Let's talk about your parents. How was their reception towards the idea of you going to school to study acting? And then beyond your parents, your friends and the society at large, those you met, did you have any form of discrimination from anybody because you were studying acting?
I've been pretty lucky. I think my parents were always incredibly supportive of me. They've always been incredibly supportive of what I've chosen to do. Otherwise, I won't be able to do it, to be frank. I mean, because the thing with acting is, you're working on and off, so you don't have that consistency of pay. Income, yeah. So they've been incredibly supportive with me, and it's starting to pay off now. Right, but so I've been very lucky. The people around me, friends, I think it's actually kind of been the opposite in terms of negative. It's been very positive feedback because people, I think, especially when I first started, it was the idea of I'm having a conversation with someone and they're saying, and they give me an unexpected answer. You expect them to say, oh, I work in oil and gas, or oh, I'm doing something in finance. So that was always interesting for me. People always found it interesting. The weird thing is often, I think, when you go out with people during the day and they expect you to be like in an office and they see like all these people in the creative worlds that are doing different things and don't have that whole rigid structure of I'm working 9 to 5.
9 to 5, yeah.
But then you can see the intensity of it. Like if I'm having a conversation with someone and they see that I'm on set till 5 a.m., then it's very different.
Yeah, I mean, very rightly said and well put. Now let's talk about your movies. I hope we have enough time to talk about your show because you're
Yes.
a man who has his hands in many pies. You're not just, you do radio, you do acting, you do a TV,
Yeah.
a talk show. So you're a man with many sides. But let's talk about movies. First of all, I think one of the first places that people didn't know that you were actually in was playing the sick friend in the wedding party. Now, how difficult was it to play a man who was wrapped up in the cast and having a phone conversation? Because sometimes we see that it's just like your body, every part of your body is integral to the success of you functioning. So when you got that role option, what was your first reaction and how well did you pull it off?
I mean, obviously you always kind of think, you know, how will this stuff kind of work out for me? I think for me, the role was just about, you get things, especially because the role was small, you get the mentality of feeling like you could throw it away.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to realize everything's incredibly important. There's no such thing as a small role. And everything is integral to what you're giving to the film. And the role was big for the film because it changed, you know, who was going to be the best man. So it changed, it threw a lot of things. It was kind of like a twisting point in the film. For me, the hard thing was actually being on set. Like that's that really quick change around because I had to be wrapped incredibly quickly. And it actually helps you find character where you haven't really had the ability to do that. Because when you're very in this uncomfortable situation, you've been bandaged from head to toe. I felt the kind of discomfort which helps you kind of imagine what the pain the person must have been like. So that was really helpful for that, yeah.
Okay, all right. Now you've gone beyond that to playing Nathan, I guess.
Nathan in
Skinny Girl in Transit, and everybody did not want you to end up with Abimbola. I forgot it, Tiwa. People didn't want you to. Everybody was Team Mide. Nobody was Team Tiwa. Now,
Team
moving over
Nathan.
from that, you have some latest projects you're working on. You have, tell us about them.
So I've got a couple of films coming out. So this past Saturday, I had the premiere for New Money, which comes out day after tomorrow. That was, for me, that was huge. I remember when I went to the audition, you kind of feel like you see all these big guys and you're like, oh, how am I going to ever get this role? And so when I got it, it was a massive thing for me. It was the first major role that I had in a feature film. And it was also opposing anything else I'd done. Because everyone sees me as this nice guy. You kind of look at my face.
You weren't a nice guy?
Even the director was like, how's he going to play a nice guy? And I am the bad guy in the film. The guy
Wow. What was the name of your character?
It's Patrick.
Patrick.
And it was interesting. Like I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed watching it as well. So the premiere was a great process for me because seeing people's reactions. So I'm looking forward to seeing what people think about that.
Okay, Ayo and I are definitely going to see it on Friday, and we'll let you know what our reaction is to the film. So you have a movie coming up shortly. Would you tell us about the movie? But we have the trailer of the movie, the Eve movie, coming up. We'll take a look at the trailer. When we come back, we'll still be speaking with Adeolu Adefarasin, and he'll talk to us about his character there, what to expect, and what lies ahead for the brand that is Adeolu Adefarasin.
Let's focus on the battery. Plan the maddest startup ever.
Alera.
She said I'm cute. Said you're cute.
It's just fun.
It's just fun.
What can happen? For sure, a lot can happen.
All the party animals are here. We hear that you have added one more, yeah. Oh yeah. So bring out the goods, bring out the drinks so we can celebrate.
That's all the first.
The Eve. I was so excited, even though this week is the eve of the week. So we're excited to see what role you're playing. But give us a sneak peek into what role you played.
So this was great for me. This was my first. So right after I got New Money, I got this, and this was my first lead role, and I was like, wow, God
you
is just,
lead. Wow, you're
God is just on the
popping.
spin for me. Like God is just showing himself off. And this was interesting as well. So it was the opposite of my character in New Money. So the character's incredibly geeky, he's incredibly shy, and I think that was weird for me because as a leading role, you always expect the guy to be that guy that you just expect women to naturally like, and he's the guy that you like in that cute kind of way. So it was really fun for me, and and I really enjoyed it. But I enjoyed being able to play with it because there were so many different aspects to it. You know, his relationship in terms of the fact he's about to get married, and he goes off for his bachelor party, and things kind of just go crazy. It's funny, it's hilarious, and it's also dramatic. It's got a lot of intense moments.
Oh, wow. All right, so how was it like working on these two sets? So you had one where you were playing the bad guy, you had to transition, and then how long did it take you to shoot both movies?
So the New Money was shooting for about 2 weeks, and that was an interesting experience. That one it was weird for me because, like I said, it was my first major role, so it was a very interesting experience in that you're kind of being thrown into having more shoot days, more scenes, and you've not known the experience. So for me, I always thought, okay, just come in, you do it. You know, you had like 1 or 2 days on set, and then you come in and you've got a lot more days. It's higher intensity, but it was really good to be around the actors in the film. So you look at people like Decore, Kate Henshaw, Blossom, and they're people that are experienced, so they kind of encourage you, and it was an incredibly great set. And the Eve, the Eve was interesting because I thought that New Money was like a lot, and then all of a sudden I went to Elisha and stayed there for about 10 days, and that was really intense. You're shooting some days. You think it's lounging.
Elisha is lounging.
It's not lounging because you've got this place. It's not like you're at a resort, so you know. You're staying in this place where they're cooking food for you and all of that, and it's great. So that's the concept, that it's lounging. All the other actors, because I was lead role, other actors might have finished shooting for the day, and I'm there shooting till 4 a.m. So they're enjoying in the pool. I'm still shooting in the middle of the night. So it was a really intense experience for me, but I really enjoyed it. The ability to kind of play so much. And one thing that I learned is really challenging as an actor when you have that kind of role is consistency.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to lose that character over a period of shooting for 3 weeks, and you're shooting every single day, and you don't want to change something. Because in a film where you're watching it for an hour and a half, you're going to notice when this person is totally different. So that was a really interesting experience, and I loved it.
And obviously, I mean, look at your face. You obviously love what you're doing, and there's no greater pleasure than doing what you love doing. So I'm really excited and happy for you. That's beautiful.
Thank you very much.
Now let's quickly delve to your talk show because I mean there's so many things about you, but Shop Talk is tell us the concept. Why? I mean we've seen a number of the shows.
So last year at Guideline Assembly we had a conference called The Manifestation. We had it again this year, but last year when we first did it there were so many women and no men, and the concept that God kind of reached out to me is that men are called to be leaders, also help you lead your relationship with God and things like that. But how are men going to do that if men are not there, if they're not seeking that relationship with God? And that's where he dropped the idea of Shop Talk to me. How do we get men to talk about real life issues and kind of subtly feed in the God factor? Get men to actually talk about things and approach things from a religious perspective, but talk about real life issues, talk about what it's like when you're dating, what it is when you're looking for a relationship, being in that relationship with God in your workplace, because we look at things, so many issues that we think that men have, especially when it comes to parenting, men being absentee fathers and all that kind of stuff. So let's talk about them and let's feed in the God factor and let's try and inspire men to open up about things they don't usually talk about. And it was a really great experience for me because I kind of thought I was going there to kind of help grow people, and it kind of ended up feeling like therapy for me. And it ended up shining a light on a lot of things and teaching me a lot of things that I didn't know because the guests came with such a wealth of information I was not expecting.
Wow.
The thing with giving to people is that in the process of giving, you think you're giving, you don't realize that you're actually being more blessed than the person you're giving to.
Yeah.
Now, Laulu, those who follow you and follow your life and follow your work know that you're a sold-out Christian and you're very vocal about your faith. Yeah. Coming into the entertainment industry is a very dicey bit. What are the challenges that you envisaged coming into the industry, and how has it been being a Christian, being vocal about your Christianity and maintaining your faith in an industry that is, in this industry?
Well, it's one of those things, I guess you expect a lot of things to come at you because obviously, especially in a thing like film, you might have to do scenes where you have to kiss people and all that kind of stuff. And then you have the other side of it where there's social media and people sliding in the DM and all that kind of stuff. But I think one thing that God has used to help me is I wouldn't say I was always that vocal. God has used me getting me to a point where he tells me to speak the word to help me, to hold me accountable. Because once you speak something, then people are watching you to make sure you're living like that.
Yeah.
So me getting to a position where I speak vocally the things that I believe he's teaching me and speaking to me has put me in a position of being accountable. Therefore, I have to live what people are hearing me speak. And that's helped me make sure that whatever it is I'm doing in my career reflects the life that I'm speaking about.
So I've taken that. Speaking about it holds you accountable. Thank you so much, Adeolu, for sharing your experience with us. And we look forward to seeing your movie.
Thank you very much.
So New Money's out this Friday?
New Money's out this
The
Friday.
Eve is out
and the Eve
next
is out
week.
next Friday.
All right. So go to the cinemas and then watch it and tweet at Adeolu Adefarasin to let him know what you think about his character and how he pulled off the role.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, too.
Thank you, Adeolu.
To enjoy more of these our Ogbonge videos when you just watch, press this button to subscribe on top of our YouTube page. You go love am.